Welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. Alright, so last time we talked to Crafty some more. Learned about the Yama Kings, which are, I guess, demons of some sort, that her mother was convinced were what was causing all of the bad ki, the negative energy going down in the walled city. Crafty wasn't convinced, but that's what we talked about. Then I went down there and I talked to Ractor and I convinced him to join me on some shadow runs. So now it's time to take up another mission. So let's choose something. Get payment. $1,100. Yeah, cool. I'll save that for later. Alright, let's see, active jobs. I have no active jobs. Oh, pending jobs. Oh. There we go. Active job would probably be if I was currently on a run. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so there's serial killer. Urgent Pass was trying. Let's take care of this serial killer. I got a problem, Rubik, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with the Wampawans. If you're not familiar with them, yeah, I read all this. And that's the fingers. The serial killer. Alright, let's take the run. Good. I'll tell the elders you're coming. They don't like outsiders and they might shoot at you if I don't warn them that you'll be arriving. Okay. So I definitely want to take Ractor on this. So I won't be able to take everyone from my usual team. I'll probably wind up not taking Duncan. On the train to go.
Be a safe escalator user. Hold the handrail and take care of children and the elderly.
Alright, Ractor's got an Ares Predator. His drone repair kit and costume. He's got armor 4. Good, he's well armored. So I want to take him. Let's take Isabel, and let's take God. Wapua Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steamed buns, and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Wampawan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ooze and fear, of ozone and fear, and those Wampawans you pass in the MTR stations have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before the ordinary residents are menaced as well. Let's give this to Gabit. Go. And we are good to go. Probably won't use that money. That's probably going to be a powerful summon that I want to save for a special time. The streets of Whampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks the sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other, rarer scents, ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and touts, urging people into their stores. Isabel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms tightly around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feelings I had when I lived here. Not that I know of. Isabel sighs heavily. This place seemed like heaven after the walled city, like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned there was the promise of a good life. It turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. Gobbet claps her hands on Isabel's shoulders, who flinches and pulls away. That's a great life lesson, is. I'm serious. At the end of the day, life's a raw deal. You've got yourself and a handful of friends, and that's it. Nothing else. A curious philosophy, Gobbet. Certainly no objective meaning can be applied to the human experience, but the sum total of culture and progress since the time of Homo erectus has shown that humans are capable of self-organizing into beneficial. Boring. Gobbet makes a short show of yawning very loudly toward Ractor. Isabel turns towards you and points down the street to your left. We're looking for the Whampoan elders. They're going to be in Whampoa itself. That's the big ship down the street. That's the mall shaped like a boat, right? Isabel nods, lip pursed. That's the one. Somebody thought it would be clever to make a uniquely shaped mall. Before I go over there, let's take a look around. I heard he's not just dead, he's been all cut up. Better find someplace indoors to sleep. The streets are dangerous lately. Alright, into Whampoa we go. Elders. Ooh, we got an arcade. Sweet. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny TRID screens, and speakers. The TRID screens display snippets of TRID broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoint with susurrus of voices speaking Sperethio, Punjabi, Kazakh, and other languages. Her expression is haggard and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Welcome. Welcome to the Whampoa, my friend. I am Elder Naga, and these are Elders Tang and Ip. Naga gestures to the elf and woman, who each incline their heads respectfully. Thank you so much for answering our request for help. We have nowhere else to turn. It's the least I can do. Under Tang's skin, glowing tattoos arrive and change shape. Tigers become cranes and move onto dragons. We're under threat. One by one, we elders are being hunted down by some monster. As you may have noticed when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. It crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state, operating temperature, servo pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. He looks past you, towards Isabel. The prodigal daughter returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Wampawa in my lifetime, Isabel. When you disappeared, Elter Yetunde was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. It pauses, tasting the air as he chooses his next words with care. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you places, though. Isabel shrugs. A moment later, she places a hand on her pistol, eyes trained on its shoes. I don't cart this around for fun, If. The lessons kept me alive. Isabel blinks several times and then looks up at Nagur. Her expression clouded. Where is Yetunde anyway? I expected Kurt to be here. Is she one of the victims? Nagur shakes her head sadly. She reaches out a hand toward Isabel, who shrinks away from her. She's dead. So are Gan and Nakamura. And Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. Isabel's expression remains impassive, but her knuckles grow white as her hand balls up into fists. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isabel. Nagur lifts her hand, wiping away tears from her eyes. Sure, mispronouncing that name. What can you tell me about these murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was Gan. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. Nagur swallows, grimacing at the painful memory. He'd been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood, it took us a week to clean out his apartment. Tang nods, running his palm over his forehead. The rest have been the same. Always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare. And every time, nobody has seen anything. It's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing that happened to the rest of the victims. Evisceration and dismemberment. We sent a guard to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime early tonight. He locked up his shop, but Ip stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside, the girl lifts her hands helplessly. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Seeing Gur's ability to continue, it takes over. Inside looked like a bad horse, and just like the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop was open when I was on my way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the police? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They've tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads, handle their matrix gear, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowlands Hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us when the HKPF or anyone else decides we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. The last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chef's dirty laundry over the Trib. They got the picture and backed off. Have you made any enemies lately? Nagur shrugs helplessly. Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries and criminals. We're merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of metahumans are monsters too, but just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. What do the Wampawan elders do? Isabel snorts derisively. They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants, that's what. being unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. Tang turns to address you. We keep the Wampo and its residents safe. We review trade agreements with outsiders to see if they're good for the community. We provide a guiding vision, like a town council. We respect that. Glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am the invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure the feng shui of our habitat is as good as it can be, given the confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She's just got some kooky spin on it. Claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Isabel pats her deck, looking in the good. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck, it's mine. I built it. The only spirit it's got in it are the ESPs I load with it. Nagur gives Isabel a look of deep sadness. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove that they have an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that. Bullshit. Isabel glances at you, jerking a thumb toward Tang. This guy treats drones like they're living things. What exactly do you do, Tang? I get it that he's a rigger. Tang extends his arms, palms up. As you watch, the tattoos therein shift into a complex mathematical formula. I am the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The Blessed Audiofab is my shop and purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. Really? What a fascinating and spiritual spin on things. Rector inclines his head toward Ken. I'd be interested in hearing more about your philosophy once we've done with the job. I think I may find your perspective on to be very interesting. Elder. As for me, I serve the resplendent voltage spike. It smiles crookedly. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. It might be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they've seen or heard anything after you've gone to Tong's sensory carnival. They may have seen or heard things that we have not. Okay. Let's take a look around this area before I go back up. Clothing store. Arcade. Looks like a cafeteria. Computer lounge. Nothing of interest here. Back up we go. There's the carnival. Porter Lamb at your service. The others told me that you'd be coming. Did they tell you about what happened to Tom? Just the basics. Well, nothing's basic about this. I've seen people shot, stabbed, beaten to death. Hell, I've even seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated, I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that's got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. Damn! Damn! Woo! You got wrecked! Tong's sensory carnival looks like a scene out of a B-grade slasher film. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick around, pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, it does nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remains of Elder Tong littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you're about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. Damn. Woo! Someone did him up but good. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what's left of his body would best be described as savage. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Wampuan elder. The Wampuan's clothing has all been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flame. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body into a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Gaba puts a hand over her mouth, speaking in an uncharacteristically serious tone. Sweet heaven, Rubik. I haven't seen anything like that since Auntie Wong tried to stash some cred stick in a devil rat's nest. It takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. Curious. The removal of the skin speaks to a deliberate pathology, some manner of serial killer, but the severed limb seems much more savage. You'd have to be very strong to tear those off. Ractor gestures at the body in passing. Look, parts of him are missing. Very curious. Taking a deep breath, you allow your senses to expand into the astrospace. The color of the room bleed away, replaced with the vibrant lights and emotions of the spirit world. Surprisingly, no emotions of fear or anger pervade the room. The abiding emotion the room is steeped in is one of perfunctory satisfaction, as if someone had accomplished an important task. It would seem likely that Tong was surprised. If he was not, it would be certain that you would feel lingering fear within this room. Easy for me to say. Whoa, really? Gaba takes a moment to center herself and stares up into space. Shortly thereafter, she shakes her head and looks back to you. That's strange, Rubik. You're right, though. He definitely didn't see it coming. Alright, what you got, Ractor? Ractor takes his time examining the body, taking small notes on his PDA. Curious. No subdermal bruising where the skins have been removed. No signs of a struggle. Coagulation of blood and lividity marks a time of death between 2 and 4 hours ago. The knife marks are methodical. The killer didn't seem to have been interested in preserving the skin as any kind of whole. It was removed a bit like one fillets a fish, the path of least resistance. Some of the strips of skin have more ragged edge than others. The ragged edge looks consistent with a claw rather than a blade. Ractor makes a curious noise as he examines the remnants of Tong's face and neck. His neck's been severed between the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae. Scarring across the bone indicates a bladed weapon, and the sharp one at that doesn't match any of the other wounds. Ractor stands and looks you directly in the eye. If I had to guess, I'd say he was killed with a blow to the back of the neck. Everything else was subsequent damage. You think the attack was meant to subdue him? Honestly, I have no idea. Perhaps whatever did the rest of the damage was secondary, an action of opportunity or the like. Without further information, I'm not comfortable guessing. So he did not see it coming. There was no struggle. And whatever sliced his neck was different than whatever ripped apart his skin. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which has hardened into a crusty congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood was deliberately smeared. These blood patterns aren't natural, a little bit. The smearing here wasn't done by Tom. There's too much blood. The killer must have spread the blood across the walls deliberately. Why the hell would they do that? Perhaps they're like many serial killers. They see their actions as a ritual or a work of art, and the victim's body was the medium in which they were working. Or maybe they're just crazy. Could be a little bit of both, Raptor. Man, I've seen a lot of crazy people in my life, but I've never seen anyone crazy enough to think they were doing something they were going to make a Mona Lisa out of somebody's teeth and guts. Thank the heavens for that, too. There's nothing else to look at in this main room. Tom's desk drawers are open, and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There's no sign of tampering, and the green light next to the word unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any with money on them. Looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep only empty cred sticks in his safe. Simpsons editor. This is a Yamaha 95000V Simpson, a device for mixing and mastering Simpsons chips. Several drive bays are empty and all of the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning, requested files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Alright, Isabel, do your thing. Isabel rattles out some commands on the Simpsons keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There. I put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only, though. Maybe we'll learn something. Maybe not. Yamaha SimOS 5.23. System diagnostics check. Memory. Okay. Drive. Error. Assist plus. Okay. Beginning cord dump. Please wait. The bug spew that scrolls across the sim screen is filled with numbers indicating recent files, play links, keyframes, and assist peak levels. Based on the numbers you're seeing, Tom Simpson has been hacked to remove the peak controller levels from the chips he's been burning that require operation to make BTL chips. The delta wave outputs of these chips push them dangerously into brain-burning territory. The file catalog for the high-peak BTLs indicates all the files and burned chips should be stored on the missing drives, and whatever was in the empty chip jacks. Somebody's cleaned out Tom's BTL stash. That's the man's bathroom. Tom's bathroom is immaculate, and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exit through there. Alright. So the killer's got a bunch of BTL chips. Is there anything else I can talk to Porter Lamb about? Looks like somebody went through Tom's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here, but before it found him? Could have been anybody, really. It had a key to his place, but the lock's total crap. Anyone half decent at cracking maglocks could have gotten inside. What's missing? His BTLs, hard drives, and cred sticks are all missing. Sounds like the killer looted his place to me. All this talk of monsters. Yeah, sure, there are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of the scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. So what do you do around here, Porter? It's a catch-all category, I guess. I work for Elder If. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules, protect people who need protecting. Mostly, I just do whatever If asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. Today's not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. It makes it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, I let in the electrician who fixes the wiring. Toilets clogged, I let in the drone guy who opens it back up. Turn up. Zippy, speak to me. This Squirk is busily snacking on a steamed bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it out toward you. Hey, stranger. Nice to see you. Zippy Toe Tag at your service. How are you liking Whampoa Garden? I'm Rubik. Nice to meet you, Zippy. Nice to meet you, too. Listen, I know it's a little forward of me to just say hello and whatnot, but I'm interested in giving you a hand if I can. Zippy gestures expansively at the squalid, neon-lit streets of Whampoa Garden. This is my home, at least for the time being, and I'd like to stop these killings. We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. The elders had me autopsy what was left of Elder Gan and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart, but I didn't want to dig into either. So since I don't know you, and I could smell a Shadowrunner a mile away, you've got to be the outsider they asked for to stop these killings, right? Zippy tilts his head back, obviously pleased at his amateur deduction. Very astute, that's right. See, I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually. If you're in the market for replacements, only slightly used, and they only come from certified donors, I swear. A hearty belly laugh erupts from the orc, and he slaps one of his thighs in elation. Man, I'd kill myself. Pretty funny, you a stand-up comedian? With jokes like that? Are you kidding me? I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here, and I keep the other Whampoans healthy, and got a practice down the road. Blind Chen's a pretty good cyber doc, but he's basically an implant specialist, and that's it. How'd you end up here? I did my residency back in the UCAS. Could have become a real MD too if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. Zippy opens his coat, revealing the cyber deck. He pats it proudly. I also beck a little, but I'm better at slicing skin that I see. Whampoa Gardens seemed a good fit for me. Let me ask you about Whampoa Garden. Sure thing. What do you want to know? What are your thoughts on the murders? There's a sharp intake of breath as Zippy shakes his head. Pretty gruesome business. Gan died from a broken neck. Looked like someone had wrenched it around, and his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin played away, too. Nakamura had his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. At first I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I didn't look at Yatunde. From what I saw at a distance, it was the same story. Didn't see much point, since I'd already seen it twice already. As for Tong, from what Porter told me, it was Gan and Nakamura all over again. You take a look at him yet? Yeah, it's the same as you described for the others. He shakes his head sadly. Damn, I like Tong. The BTO business is unsavory, but the man had to eat, and his regular sins were great. Generally all around nice guy, friendly with everyone, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice, let me tell you. Can you tell me about the elders? Zippy laughs, shrugging. Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Naga is the spiritual leader here. She's the voice of the Whampoans, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more followers, since she's something of a priest for the machine spirits. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Hip's the muscle, and has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and Bioware. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wondering if you'll tear their arms off. Zippy makes a chopping gesture with one hand. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3, The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fights and choreography. What about Tang? I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Found him cooling over some trips of automated delivery drones in the warehouse once. He works with drones, has a shop called the Blessed Audio Fab. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement patterns or something. You already know about Tom. Ran Sims, BTLs, skill chips. Gan used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved in statistical analysis. Zippy pauses to collect his thoughts. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment. Shrid mostly. Spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals and ads. Then there was Magpie. She was the chief decker, hot as hell against IC, and built her own hardware. Salty old woman, though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill and nasty when she was mad. She was mad most of the time. Wait, nobody mentioned Magpie to me. When did she die? She didn't. Maybe a month ago, she just up and disappeared. I went to her shop one day and it just wasn't open. Nobody's seen her since. Kind of a pain in my ass too. She owed me some new Analyze software she picked up. I've never heard of Magpie either. She must be one of the newer Womp-Ones. If she was the Decker, she would have replaced Elder Gao. No surprise there. Gao was older than Shiwan, these terracotta warriors. I'm sure I butchered that. When I was learning decking from him, he could barely get out of bed. Still fast as hell in the Matrix, though. How can you be new and an elder? Isabel rolls her eyes. It's a stupid name. It doesn't actually have much to do with the time spent in the community. That has something to do with it, sure, but it's mostly about how skilled you are, how good your connections are, and how much you can help everybody else. Should have called them experts or something. Bingo. That's exactly it. She was only here for about 3 years, but she knew a lot of people and all over the Matrix. In Shanghai and Beijing, all kinds of places. That plus her skill meant she was a shoo-in when Gao died. Why would she disappear? No idea. One day she was here, the next, poof. At first I thought she was just on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday, but it didn't feel right. She would have at least told me she was leaving. It seems mighty suspicious to me. Nobody else seems to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them all off so bad. A little odd for her to just disappear, don't you think? Of course it's odd. She owed me lunch too, and she wasn't the sort who paid her. And she was the sort who paid her debts promptly. You might want to check out her shop. It's all locked up, but the other elders have a spare key. Couldn't hurt to look around, and even though Magpie was always butting heads with the other elders, they wouldn't have any reason not to let you in. What do you mean butting heads? Magpie and the others never saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest had a grand vision for what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Magpie just wanted to deck. She was only an elder because they needed someone with her Matrix shops. The last big argument was between her, Nagu, If, and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the private trade business into the Matrix, and she just absolutely refused. She sounds like she didn't care for entertainment taking precedence over business. That's exactly it. She gave Nakamura an earful. Let me tell you. She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she wasn't going to let Tang expand his drone business any further, because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accused her of blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. What do you mean blocking them? Everybody needs her Matrix skills for their business to run properly. There are other deckers, me, Say, or Mo, Genevi, but she had the infrastructure. If their projects didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of the day. She's a real hardhead about having her time wasted, but she figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot, if you ask me. Did you let me into her shop? No can do. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't have the key. You'd have to get it from Ib. He's taken over all the Matrix infrastructure maintenance since Magpie disappeared. He's not as good as she is, or as I am, but they're not going to let anybody who isn't an elder take care of that kind of critical stuff. Looks like Tom was killed by a blade, not a broken neck or a bite. Zippy recoils, shuddering against the rain. What kind of blade? Is it a knife, a sword, maybe an axe? I don't know, but he was attacked at the back of the neck. I don't like it at all. Zippy shivers, looking warily around. This whole affair has got me on edge. People dying is nothing new, but the flayed skin. Ugh. After a moment, Zippy composes himself and looks back at you. It sounds possible that whoever has been killing the elders is trying to muddy the waters with all of the blood and gore business. This is the crime of an intelligent, careful killer. Be careful. This investigation might take you somewhere very unpleasant. See you later, Zippy. Alright, let's go back to the elders so I can get that key. Or at least attempt to get that key. Ooh, someone else to talk to. Wink K. Clock. Is there anything else we can do for you, Reuben? Why didn't you tell me about Elder Magpie disappearing? Why would we have? Her departure from the Wampawans isn't related to your investigation. It happened before the killings began. I'm certain she's just off sulking somewhat. McGiff's tone is profoundly different. No doubt she'll come waltzing back next month, all full of attitude that like dare go on without her asking her permission. If she does, we'll welcome her back. Despite her problems with her behavior, her skills make her extremely valuable. I've taken over maintenance of our Matrix infrastructure in her absence, but I'm nowhere near her level. The best I can do is ensure nothing breaks down until she returns. I'd like to take a look around her shop. Do you have the key? Yes, but there's a lot of sensitive equipment in there, including our community service. We don't let anyone who's not one of the Wampawang elders in there. Why would you need to look around there? Listen, you wanted me to find the killer. If I'm going to do that, I have to explore every possibility. Very well, take the key and look around. Just don't break anything or shut the servers off. I'm not looking to cause damage. Alright. Oh, I could talk to all sorts of people in here. Let's talk to Wink K. Clock. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Quack Atelier, home of the finest clothing in Whampoa Garden. I am the owner, Master Tailor Wink K. Quack. How may I serve you today? I didn't expect Whampoa Garden to have the tailors in it. Many people don't. There's a mistaken impression that we Wampawans are only interested in technology and the Matrix. But even the technologists need clothing, don't they? And many of us are in lines where added protection is required. I myself am a materials scientist, as well as a keen follower of fashion trends. What kind of materials science? Fiber related, of course. Primarily aramid fibers, graphene composites, and dilepants. It affords me a certain unique perspective when designing clothing that's not only beautiful, but defensive as well. I specialize in high fashion body armor, similar to the kind crafted by Secure Tech or Vashon Islands, but with a much more personal touch. Yeah, let's see what you got. There's the cloth suit, glass gem linen coat, Secure armor clothing, shaman ritual garb, street armor. Alright. Decent stuff, but not anything better than what I could get back at the hub back in Keeling. Alright, goodbye. Let's talk to Rainbow. This woman sports brilliantly hued hair that shifts colors, scintillating with every passing moment. She's powerfully built, a natural athlete, or someone who works out a great deal. Notably, a large shotgun rests on an arcade cabinet next to her. She affords you a short glance as you approach. When she speaks, you note a peculiarly lyrical accent to her voice. Something I can help you with there, friend? You're throwing off your game. I'm trying to beat my best score. Tank War, Europa! I haven't seen one of those cabinets in years. The woman's mouth twists up in a wry grin. Aye, me neither. Managed to find this one near by accident. But I hear the music and thought, hold out there, Rainbow. You know that tune. After a few moments, Rainbow's game is suddenly over. Her tank obliterated by a barrage of air-to-ground missiles. She hisses her breath in through clenched teeth. Piss on your ma. Right robbery that was. Right then, Rainbow shakes her head again and turns to face you cold. You don't seem like them Wampalons. They're all a mite touched, yeah? Maybe you are too, but you don't advertise it like they do. What's your story? I'm looking into the murders that have been happening. Ah, that's nasty work. Bodies hacked up, chunks bitten out of them. Make sure you're loaded for something big and ugly, that's for certain. Where are you from? I can't place the accent. Is Scottish? Irish. Born and raised in Dublin. Down at the banks of the Liffey. Spent most of the life there. Worked in security on sacred spaces, historical sites or undeveloped land. I'm not even going to attempt to do an Irish accent. The Green Movement was big in those days. It was a bit like being a park ranger. It sure didn't beat some dead-end desk job. Spent a lot of time around country Dublin and Wicklow. I always loved animals, and I found that being a ranger put me in close with them. It was a good time, yeah? Making sure the budding new species like the bogies and centaurs didn't upset the ecology of the Wicklow National Park much. Also kept the nastier bits like the each usage from running amok across populated areas. Each usage? Isn't that a demon horse? Aye, that's right. They're cannibal horses basically. Nasty buggers that drag people into bogs and drown you. Sometimes people call them kelpies on account of the water plants they pop out of. Alright. Anyone else I can talk to in here? Min Guang. The owner of the shop barely looks from his PDA while greeting you. His tone is one of immense boredom. Welcome to Min Guang Matrix Materials, aka MDMN. What can I get you? Well, let's see what you got. So he's got stuff to sell. Very impressive stuff. See you later. Let's go back up. Jack, I take it this is the elder that's got Magpie's place. Display case. This bin is full of assorted chips, peripherals, and add-on modules for cyberdecks. They don't seem to be arranged in any coherent fashion and are spread across the felt surface. Sit through the display case searching for anything that might prove interesting. Isabel peers past you into the bin as you search. That's interesting. A lot of storage memory, I/O handlers, and active memory in this bin. I'm not seeing any MPCP hardware, response increase chips, or anything relating to the hot chip decking Magpie was supposed to be into. In fact, you couldn't even build a full deck with this. Without the MPCP, it'd just be another glorified comlink. What do you think it means? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say somebody cleaned her out. MPCP, response increase, biofeedback filters, and all that. They're easy to move, expensive, and highly illegal. All the rest of this crap is good, but it's nothing you couldn't pick up at any electronics shop. You have to know what you're looking for, Paul. Only a good decker would know what they're seeing. Could Magpie have taken them with her? Isabel gestures towards one of the other displays. A pair of small cyberdecks sit inside of the locked case. I guess so, but if she did that, why would she leave the completed cyberdecks? No, I think it was theft. The front of the server's case hangs open, the inner machinery quiet and without power. A clipboard is stuck to the side by a piece of duct tape. Its paper is filled with long lists of programs and their prices. A quick glance over the program sheet reveals names like Bugs, Bugs, Bugs and Black Hammer. Undoubtedly, this was Magpie's attack program storage machine. Somebody's removed the drives, and it sure wasn't Magpie. Here, look. Isabel gestures to the innards of the open server. Near the back, a solitary red light blinks. The main drives were disconnected properly, but it looks like she modded the server to have a backup drive with its own battery-based power supply. If it was Magpie, she'd have taken that too. Crap. This is a Fushi XB1000, and it looks like the battery power ran out a while ago. The XB1000s are constant write drives. They're dirt cheap and have a ton of capacity, but if they run out of power, they lose their data. We're not going to be able to get anything off that drive. Oh, that's a bummer. Alright, let's check out Magpie's desk. Magpie's desk is the kind of messy most people only associate with Rat's Nest. Hoarders and deckers. The surface of the desk is littered with cigarette butts, half-finished cans of soy calf, and scraps of electronics. A towering pile of empty instant noodle bowls sit next to it. Their sides are blazoned with the Honest Wang's instant old-time lambian, and depict a line of top hat-wearing caterpillars dancing with canes. Hey, awesome! I didn't think anybody but me liked Honest Wang's noodles. Flavor like you've never tasted in a package of instant noodles. I promise. Gabbett taps the side of one container. See? This one's cheese and curry broccoli. I don't know why it never caught on, honestly. I can smell that stuff across the entire bowl when you cook it. It's a bit like old socks with a side of vinegar. The first time I smelled it, I thought you were fumigating. Psh, Isabel, your main problem is that you have no idea what's delicious and what isn't. Expand your horizons. There's a whole world of deliciousness waiting for you at every corner store. Isabel snores derisively. My horizons are fine where they are, thanks. After all, I can still tell if I'm eating food or cardboard. That's one of those little things I'd like to hold on to. You gingerly root around at the desk, doing your best to avoid the more disgusting piles and spills. It isn't easy. The desk drawers are stuffed to overflowing with receipts, cigarette packs, optical chips, and cables. Most of the contents is boring and useless and disgusting. While searching one of the bottom drawers, however, a low-quality tin lockbox catches your eye. Something has pried the latch off, leaving a ragged hole where the lock should be. The interior of the box has several sleeves for storing keycards, all of which are empty. A small note is taped to the interior of the box. Spare stockroom keys. The lock is in the rear of Mrs. Yang's restaurant. Do not lose these. Use only if I am not available to open the stockroom. Stockroom, huh? So who broke the lockbox to get the keys out? Probably whoever cleaned out Magpie's equipment. I'm thinking you're right. Whoever tore the latch off the box was in a hurry. Any of the elders could have cracked the maglock without much trouble, and most regular Wampalons could too. This seems like somebody who was tossing the place and wanted to get in and out as fast as possible. If someone was after Magpie's gear, the stockroom should be a gold mine. Let's check the bathroom. You search Magpie's bathroom. There's not much in here. A toothbrush, toilet paper, some hairpins, and a collection of cheap makeup. The combination bath shower unit, however, has minor flakes of a dry, reddish substance near the drain. Blood. Dried blood. Prying open the drain cover, it looks like quite a bit of it was shed as well. The blood hasn't been fully washed away. It looks like there was a custody attempt to clean out the bath, but they missed washing it all away. It's a clever move, though. If Magpie's dead, a body drained of blood would be a lot easier to move without leaving evidence. This doesn't seem to match the killer's other scenes, though. I'm not certain I trust the elders to tell us the whole story. Let's not inform them of this finding just yet. If any of them know more than they're saying, they may go around and cover their tracks with great diligence. Let's see if we can find that Stockton. The man in front of the stall is rooting through a box of music chips with the swift fingers of someone who knows what they're looking for. Behind him, a music player pumps out a constant stream of distorted, atonal music. The stall's proprietor is nowhere to be seen. Can you believe this? They got 4 bootlegs of Echelon 60, the unreleased Enoch Ian Key's double chip show from Brazzaville, but absolutely 0 chips from Shotgun Bloom. The stall stuff is purely second rate. Hey man, don't get down on Echelon 60. I saw them when they played that unlicensed show at the old Choco Tart factory out in Soon Lam. The show was amazing, even if the police had to break it up midway through the second set. The music aficionado waves his hand dismissively. The show might have been great, but come on, Echelon 60's old news. They're already being mainstream. I saw a TRID ad for the new Mitsubishi Astro scooter, and they were using main gold underbusses as backing music. Made me sad, I tell you. They still have hipsters in the future. The Decker inclines his head politely toward you. Oh, Genevieve at your service. Decker, technologist, music fan. You're not from around here, are you? You don't hold yourself like a native. I'm from the UCAS. Mo runs a hand through his hair, shaking the collected rain off of it. I thought so. What brings you out here? Trying to find out who's been killing the elders. Decker pauses a moment, face falling. It's a nasty business. I heard Tom died tonight. I don't know who or what they pissed off, but it seems like a really bad scene. I'm trying to keep my nose out of it. Still, I like this place. Is there anything I can do to help? So what can you tell me about the Wampawans? They're a collection of freaks, geeks, nerds, and tech junkies. This place may look like a third world bazaar, but believe me, we have stuff here that's cutting edge in almost every field. Mo swells with pride and plants both hands firmly on his hips. Maybe it's not as advanced as the stuff the megas have in their developmental labs, but it's not as advanced as you find. It's not as advanced as anything you can find. I think it's meant to say, but it's more advanced than anything you can find in a store. Because that sentence didn't really make sense. People come from all over the world to buy and sell here and work out deals for big shipments. We've got contacts with every pirate and smuggling group in the South China Sea, and every major syndicate and gang in the Free Enterprise Zone knows not to mess with us. Not only are there a lot of us, nobody wants to lose what we're selling. The Red Dragon made a play 4 years ago, but we chased them out. Mo gestures with both hands as if shooing away a bothersome insect. Scooted out back to Ho Man Tin, and they've never been back. That sounds dangerous. You must have pissed them off. It's all about playing the angles. Yeah, it pissed them off, but then we sold goods to the Yellow Lotus at a discount. In exchange, the Yellow Lotus kept them off our back. You don't have to beat up the big guy to win. You just have to make him step back so the other big guy sees he's off balance. Stand-up fights are for megas. We're about survival, just like everybody else in the shadows. Know anything about the murders? I'm trying to stay as far away from it as possible. I'm not connected enough to hear anything important, and all the talk about monsters is just plain dark. I'm not afraid of monsters, but I don't want to get their attention. All I know is that a couple of months ago, we had elders Nakamura, Yatunde, Gan, and Magpie, and now we don't. I never heard about Magpie. Sounds like she was kind of vicious. To be blunt, she's a hateful, shrewish old badger of a person. It was always her way or the highway. She butt heads with the other elders over darn near anything. The last fight she had was with Tang over something or other. I guess she ended up throwing some of his micro-drones into a deep fryer and threatening to kick his ass around the block. What was her line of business? Nature's gear. The shop's called the Jack Point. Not very imaginative, I know. She always had the hottest programs, best chips, and made some killer decks for anybody willing to pay her rates. It cost plenty of Nuyen, but she was one of the best in the business, at least in Hong Kong. If you want to know more about her, you should talk to Zippy. Already have. He's one of the only people around here who got along with Magpie. You can probably find him by the NPR station. He loves the steamed buns over there. Oh, what's your area of expertise? I'm a decker. I used to be a company man for years, pushing code on their servers, smearing the little cyber pukes that would try to get in our secure systems. I made a pretty good living, had my own place on the 48th floor in a corporate skyscraper. It was the kind of thing the Sims teach you everybody reaches for, the dream life. That sounds like hell on earth to me. Mo chuckles, running a hand through his hair. Well, it wasn't so bad at the time, but in the long run I think you're right. I'm not as comfortable out here on the edge, but I'm also a lot happier. I found out the company wasn't what I thought it was. Sure, they paid me well and kept me in the creature comforts, but I accidentally looked over some misfiled reports while cleaning out a company data store. Turns out one of the company's security riggers had gotten drunk and blabbed about some project or other being over budget and behind schedule. That's not good. It'd be a fireable offense, right? Mo purses his lips, his gaze going distant for a moment. Well, I guess upper management was worried that info would hurt their stock ratings by a fraction of a point or two. So they fired the guy with a 308 round right through the skull. You should have known that's how the corporations handle problems. Well, I sure as hell know it now. You get a wake-up call like that, it'll really open your eyes. It may only have been fractions of a point, but that was still tens of millions of Nuyen. I guess that went beyond the firing offense, directly into murder territory. What's worse, since I now know about both the project and the murder, I could be next in the firing line. I knew I wasn't worth the expense to hunt down as long as I kept my head down. So I came out here, looking for like-minded deckers. Guess I ended up staying because I could get a semblance of community out here, and I couldn't get that many other places. Magpie's shop is missing a lot of gear. Know anybody who might be fencing it? In Whampoa Guard? No way. Most people are too shit scared of Magpie to pull that, and I definitely recognize anything of hers. She watermarked every program and engraved every chip. Wanted people to know where the good stuff came from. There's not a lot of places to hide that kind of gear around here. We're all packed pretty tight. And this place gossip like a mahjong parlor at tea time. If I were you, I'd ask any other outsider types you could find if they'd heard something. Nobody local would risk bringing Magpie's ire down on them, or the rest of the Wampuans. We might cheat other people, but we don't steal from each other. Anybody who gets caught doing that would get kicked out, or worse. See you later. Breaker Hui. An imposing troll stands in front of a stall, overflowing with weapons of all sorts, pistols, rifles, and even brass knuckles overflowing to the rug around him. Oh there, you look like a man who understands the value of self-defense. Breaker Hui at your service. And I can promise you I can help you defend yourself. What do you say? Want to take a look? Well, yeah, let's see what you got. Chocolate. Nothing really good. Nothing I want anyway. Yeah, tell me what you want. Maybe I can help you. Know anything about the murders? Just that elders have been getting hacked apart. I've tried to stay away from it all. No sense painting the crosshairs on my own forehead, right? The troll shrugs indifferently. I'm nobody important, and I aim to keep it that way. So what's your impression of the elders? Can't say I associate much with them. They organize big trade deals with the Loho Joan pirates, the triads, the legitimate businesses. They tell us if somebody's been blacklisted and dispense justice when somebody breaks the rules. Beyond that, they leave us alone, and I leave them alone. I'm just not important enough to register on their radar. You know anything about Magpie? Never met her, thank God. She ran with the Deckers mostly, since she dealt in chips and software. I heard she was hard to work with. I think the phrase I ever heard was that she shrieked like a harpy with a fresh corpse. I don't know. You should ask Zippy though. He's a sharp one with a deck, so he'd know it better than most. Aside from Tom, who slings the details around him? The Red Spear Gang. They're up in here sometimes, but don't cause any trouble. Check out the parking garage south of here though. They usually hole up in there. Step light though. If they don't know you and you cop an attitude, they'll put you in the ground. Well, they can try. Funny thing, I heard there was a shootout with some Hong Kong police in a garage a month ago. I was away in Beijing at the time, so I didn't see it directly, but everybody was talking about it when I got back. Why's that funny? Because we don't let the HKPF in here most times. We shoot at them if they try. Every time they come in here, it's bad for us because they're always looking for a scapegoat. Why would the elders let them in? Nobody knows. I was curious. Delta, can you sell me a steamed bun? I'm starving. This dumpy-looking man is busily hawking a variety of grilled spherical treats in various sizes. Some are sold individually, some are skewered on sticks, and some are packaged up in sets of 4 or 6. The sign on the front of the cart reads, Keita's 1 yen yatai. A cacophony of small trit screens are attached to the cart, each playing a different trit show. Can a brother buy a steamed bun? Got a pork bun, man? Oh, he does have pork bun. The man's got pork bun. Interest you in some dango? Takoyaki? Maybe a nice nikuman? That's a pork bun. With a Japanese twist. Any kind of tasty Japanese treat you can imagine. I've got it. Maybe some curry fish balls are your speed? Keita will give you your heart's desire, provided that your desires on my menu. I'll take some dango. I would have rather taken the pork bun, but I'll take what I can get. Your wish is my command, good sir. Keita deftly pulls one of the dango sticks out of the cart and drops it into the grill. A small robotic arm slides out from the cart and begins turning the stick until the balls of rice flour are toasted brown color. Lifting them from the grill, Keita dips the entire stick into a tub of sticky brown sauce before handing it to you. The snack has both a sweet and salty flavor, reminiscent of sesame seeds and soy. The balls inside are pleasantly warm and surprisingly chewy. They're like eating raw dough, but without the attendant chalky taste. Should I get one for David? You know she wants one. Keita leans back, studying you intently. The trick projections from his cart cause his face to be lit in a constantly shifting array of rainbow hues. So what brings you to Whampoa Garden, my friend? Somehow I doubt it's just a street food. I'm looking into the killing of the Whampoan elders. Keita shivers, wrapping his arms around his body. I've been hearing a lot about that. Haven't looked too closely, though. It's just none of my business, you know? What can you tell me about the people here? They're tech heads, deckers, riggers, trick pirates, and everything in between. If I had to define this place, I'd say it's Asia's mecca for people like us. As for the elders, I can give you the basics. I'm a small fry, not exactly on social terms. Naga's some kind of crazy tech witch. She summons up spirits and casts spells and works as the spiritual center of the tribe. She's a lot craftier than she seems to. She also has this mother-to-everyone act going on. But I've watched her manipulate people into doing all kinds of stuff they wouldn't normally do. And they thought it was their idea the whole time. Magically. No, I don't think so. She's just really good with people. Ip's a killer, addicted to cybernetic implants. So he always has to have the newest and freshest gear. Funny thing is, I've never seen him fight. I kind of get the impression he's a coward. He'd rather let one of his buddies handle a problem and do it himself. All I know about Tang is that he loves drones and does a little decking. Frankly, I find him kind of boring. All he talks about is neural networks, dark knowledge, and evolution of machine learning. Like I said, boring. What's with all the TRID screens? Keita beams and gestures excitedly to him. You like them? I love TRID operas. Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indonesian, it doesn't matter. This way I can watch all of my favorite shows without missing a beat. And I can work at the same time. Pirated TRID is my other business. I rip the streams in the Matrix, tap right into the corporate feed, and resell them on the chip out here. Keita's face falls a bit, and his enthusiasm wanes. I wish I could pay the bills, but my food cart's a lot better at that. I don't know why, but most of the other Wampalans seem to like Sim over TRID. They don't know what they're missing, though. One episode of 1,000 Cranes of Autumn, and they'd be hooked for life. I'm just at the part where O-Rin has confessed her love to Takayama, but he's got to get his mech suit out on the front lines on Mars, so he can't be with her. Downright heartbreaking, I tell you. Sounds like an interesting show, all right. Eyes twinkling, Keita leans forward in breathless excitement. Oh, you have no idea. 312 episodes, chronicling a noble mech pilot and the tumultuous love affair he has with a space station governor's daughter, the Patmos, the Majesty. The Battle of Lagrange 1 spans 5 episodes, just by itself. For some reason, I guess it didn't resonate with the wider public. I don't know why. Who doesn't want to see a TRID show about a giant flying robots, love, betrayal, and spies? I don't know, sounds good to me. I've got to stop myself before I get carried away. Was there something else you need? Got any thoughts on the murders? Yeah, ignore them, Keita shrugs indifferently. I saw the Crown down at Tong's Sensory Carnival earlier today, but I didn't know the guy well. I'm a TRID fan. He likes The Sims. Not a lot of crossover between us. See you later. This is parking garage. That's where I can talk to that gang. Before I do, let's talk to the Mergo. This man has a tired, world-weary demeanor about him. His eyes track your movements with a penetrating, critical precision. Something about him, the lines about his eyes, perhaps makes you suspect that he's seen a lot of terrible things happen. He lifts his cup of cheap soy cap as you approach. Let me guess, you're the freelancers the elders are paying to look into the murders around here. That's right. Who are you? Call me the Mergo. I'm not one of the Wampalans, but I've been here long enough that they don't think twice about me being here. The Mergo drains the last of his soy cap in a large gulp. So what have you found so far? You're often curious for a random guy. Professional curiosity. I used to be with the New York Police Department as part of their Thaumaturgical Research Division, part of the CSI branch, except I did the magical investigation while the other guys pulled prints and checked blood samples. The Mergo tosses the soy cup towards the nearby garbage can. It bounces around the rim and rolls inside. When I hear about shit like this happening, I keep my ear to the ground. Old habits, you know? Seems like you're more cut out for this job than I am. Elder Naga asked me to look into killings after the first murder. She couldn't afford my fee, though, so I took a pass. It's not just the money, either. The Mergo shudders, holding his arms across his chest. You see that stuff day after day, and you pay a price. It eats away at you. You know what it's like to feel all that sickness and anger every day? To be asked to pick up a murder weapon and relive somebody's death, feel it going into your neck, bleeding in the voice of a dead woman for her killer to spare you. These days, I'd rather interrogate the living things. What are you talking about? I can read objects. It's called psychometry. A little trick I managed to pick up. Don't really know how. I hold something, I can tell you what happened to it. Who owned it, how it killed someone, if someone loved it, or was afraid of it. Useful, but it'll tax your heart. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to read anything you find. I already told Naga I didn't want any part of this. You want advice? I'll give you that. But I'm not getting drawn in further than that. So aside from that, is there anything else I can help you with? Tong wasn't afraid when he died. He was caught by surprise. The Murgo arches an eyebrow. That's not what I would have expected. With the amount of mess that you've seen, the victims should have left behind a hell of a lot of fear and pain. Are you sure? Very sure. Tong died tonight, so the Astro signature hasn't had time to fade. There was only a sense of perfunctory accomplishment. And it sounds like this wasn't a crime of passion. A planned attack would have had that kind of resonance. In my experience, it's possible the gore show is to throw off anyone looking for the actual reason. The Marigold crosses his eyes and starts to nod. Yeah, if I wanted to kill someone and get away with it, I'd try to point the finger at some kind of monster. The Marigold opens his eyes and smiles a thin, humorless grin. Basic Investigation 101. It's usually the simplest explanation, but don't discount other possibilities. You think the mess wasn't incidental? It's a possibility. Ask yourself this. If the mutilation happened after Tong's death, why would a killer perform that kind of ritual? Serial killers who engage in that kind of ritual don't feel perfunctory about it, in my experience. It tends to feel more like they're taking communion. It's a religious or sexual feeling most of the time. If this didn't feel that way, I don't think the killer is actually pathological. Tong was killed by a bladed weapon, a single strike to the base of his neck. That's a precision attack. Most knife fights end up with a lot of shallow cuts and blood over the victim and attacker alike. If Tong was killed by a single strike, he definitely wouldn't have seen it coming, and you can bet your last million that whoever killed him is highly skilled with the blade. That says to me that the attack is either a professional hitman or a practiced serial killer. It could be both, too. Assassins don't tend to be most empathetic people. The Marigold considers this information for a moment before speaking again. Was the attack a thrust or a cut? It was a slash. Why? If the wound was a thrust, your attacker would be using a knife of some kind. Anything over about 10 inches would be pretty hard to thrust with that kind of angle. The neck's too high for a longer blade. If it's a slash, you're looking at a sword or cleaver attack. Both of those are popular with the triads. They make an awful mess and send a message that they're not to be trifled with. What can you tell me about the Wampawans? I don't know much. Even though I've been here almost 2 years, I'm an outsider. They don't actually accept anyone who's not as much of a tech nut as they are. I'm just a crazy mage that lives down the road. The Marigold pauses and looks off into the distance as he collects his thoughts. Ip's got some heavy-duty cyberware, basically an enforcer for the rest of the council. He doesn't seem to set much policy. Naga is a shaman that worships machine spirits. It's all a bunch of hokum, if you ask me. Magic is magic. Whatever you want to call the source is fine by me. But don't ask me to believe it's the great spirit of electronics. As for everybody else, they tend to be an okay bunch. It's strange, but that's French culture for you. They scrounge tech, rebuild it, sell it off. Some of them even have their own artifact shops. Their stuff's pretty high quality, too. People from all over Asia come to shop here. If they need something rare or unusual, tight-knit little community, all things considered. What do you know about the murders? They started a couple weeks ago. Elder Gan was the first to go. That's when the Gu asked if I could look into them. He was ripped apart, arms wrenched out of their sockets, skin flayed away with razor-sharp knife. The rest happened the same. Whatever did it sure didn't care about it being a clean death. The Marigold lowered his voice, leaning in toward you so only you can hear. Funny thing is, the Hong Kong police force was out there just a few weeks before that. Maybe a month ago, tops. I know that doesn't seem like much, but the Wampawans don't usually let the police in here. That by itself is odd enough, but it gets even stranger. The officers were loaded for bear, too. Big guns and heavy armor with NBC seals. The works. They went into the parking garage near here, and there was some kind of gunfight. Never made it back out. When backup showed up, the Wampawans chased them away. Why would they let cops in and then chase them away? That's exactly the kind of question you should be asking, and what the elders refused to answer when I asked. Amerigo shrugs. Well, take a look yourself if you want. Watch out though, a gang's taken up residence in there, dealing drugs and BTLs. They call themselves Red Spear. Not too violent if you don't push them, but be careful what you say. Alright, I think I'm going to leave out here before heading into the parking garage. This has already been going long. I kind of wanted to finish the job in one episode. This has already been going real long, and who knows how much longer it's going to take. So we'll pick up the murder investigation here next time.